What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video on the FBA Capital Trading channel. And today I'm bringing you guys another video on our daily range case study on US30. So without further ado, let's get right on into the charts. So first things first, as you guys know, if you paid attention to yesterday's video, we had a major bearish day, about 1,500 points. It fell 1,500 points, and overall I was expecting today to be bearish also, but it looks like all we did was have an overall retracement, because if you're paying attention to any of the fundamentals, Ukraine, Russia, they're kind of at war right now. Even though I don't really pay attention to a lot of fundamentals for this exact reason, a lot of people were expecting price to continue falling, because last night when the news got dropped that they were invading Ukraine, price started dropping. So you would expect potentially price to keep dropping today, even though they kept attacking them. That's not the case. Price ended up having a very bullish day, same with NAS 100. As you can see, this is a very big move. Once again, this is 930 points, and today US30 moved up about 987 points. So even though the news you would think would be negative news, it was negative. So that's why personally I don't like to pay attention to fundamentals. I just like to know when they're going to come out so I can anticipate when there's likely to be a reaction. So first things first, I want you guys to pay attention to this previous day's high, this previous day's low, and I'm going to mark those up. So right here, we have the previous day's low. As you can see, it got ran through, had a false break, and then price showed a willingness to potentially keep going higher. Then we have the previous day's high all the way up here. As you can see, the previous day's high did not get tapped into, but I still want you guys to pay attention to this high up here. Why? Because now, as a matter of fact, let me do this first. Let's get the 12 a.m. open, which is going to be right here. Then we're going to get the Asian session range. So from 18 o'clock all the way to midnight, right here. Boom, and boom. And now that we have this, now I want you to pay attention to the previous day's high and low. So I'm going to draw my fib from this high to this low all the way down here. So I'm going to take it from here. I'm going to use this low because it's low. And as you can see, price came in right to that 62% right there. And then what did that do? Cleared the Asian session high, had a false break of it, tapped into it. And if you pay attention to what number that is, this is at 33,200 big figure level. So there's a lot of reason why price was likely to have this reaction here. But nonetheless, now I want you guys to pay attention to this area right up here, this area right down here. Why? Because these are the highs and the lows of the day. So we'll pay attention right down here. So right here at 2 in the morning, price created the low of the day after doing what? Trading below the previous day's low, had the false break, cleared the Asian session lows also. So cleared the Asian session low, cleared the previous day's low, and showed a willingness to go up right away at 2 in the morning. And then we had this engulfing candle. And then we pay attention to what price we are also at, 32,200. We didn't tap into it, but technically on a different broker, the chances that price tapped into is going to be far more likely. So say US30, I'm going to go to say, let's go to this pair right here, 32,200. As you can see, price tapped into it right over here. So even though, is that 32,200? No, technically did tap into it here also, but it is what it is. Nonetheless, we're going to come back over here, but you guys get the point. More than likely on a different broker, price tapped into it, but on this one, it just didn't. So we're going to keep this in mind. So now let's annotate this. We have the low of the day at 2 a.m. We had a false break of the previous day's low plus Asian range low. And this is what created the low of the day. Let's get this right here. And this is where price created the low of the day. So from here, this is when price overall started to continue moving to the top side. And also, I forgot to add, we're below the 12 a.m. open. So what do we know when we're below the 12 a.m. open? If we're overall looking for bullish trades, or we're overall bullish on the daily buys, we're going to be wanting to buy ideally below the 12 a.m. open. If we're bearish, we would want to be selling above the 12 a.m. open. In this case scenario, you would want to be buying below here. And this is actually where I was able to catch my trade, where I'm going to show you in a second. So now let's go to this high up here. So we have this high of the day at what time? 15:45, which is about 3:45. So at 3:45 p.m., we have the high of the day. Plus we had the fib short rejection. Plus we had 33,200 rejection. Plus we also had a false break of the Asian range high. So we cleared the Asian range high, and then we came right down immediately. So right where I put this check mark is where we cleared that high, cleared this low, and also cleared this low. And then from here, this is where price stood, and price didn't go any higher from here. Price slowly started to move down. So now I want you guys to pay attention to where you ideally would have been able to catch trades in all of this. So now that we have this low down here, since today was an overall bullish London continuation, where could have you potentially caught a trade? So for one, once price made this high at 4 in the morning, you could have been looking for potential retracement. So if you pull your fib from here to here, you see that you had this first potential entry in here as this fib long at this order block created during that London session. So right here. So we had this order block that was created during London session, plus we had this fib long, and then this is where price slowly started to consolidate. This low was never violated. The low from 2:15, 2 a.m. was never violated, and from here price overall kept going higher. Now let's annotate it first before I tell you what I was going to say. So we have this fib long plus 15-minute order block rejection, and we also had a retest of the previous day's low, but I'm not going to have that in there. So we had the fib long plus this, so right in here. And then what if you didn't catch this trade? Because this is still significantly early. This is around 9 o'clock. Say you missed this trade also and you would have looked for potential retracement. Now what you could do is pull your fib from this low to this high right here. And you still could have did the same thing. Look for potential retracement to a fib plus order block. And as you can see, you got the same situation. Price retrace into a fib plus a retrace into what? If you go to 30-minute or the hour right here. Let me see. If we go to 2 hour, I think that's what this is. We have this 2 hour order block right in here. So we'll go back to 15-minute. And now you pull it over just like this. Let me get in there. Hold on. There's a lot of things in here, but here I'm gonna make it nice and clean just like this. So we have this 2 hour order block right in here. I'll move this over just so everything is nice and clean together. Reset. So now you see it's a little bit kind of hard to tell, but you see price retraced into this 2 hour order block plus this new fib long and retested the previous day's low and also retested this 400 level, which is a mid-figure level right here. Not mid-figure, big figure, but it's not ones that I ideally use. It's one of the in-betweens, but nonetheless, you can see how price was staying below it and also stayed below the 12 a.m. open, which is also still a sign that price is still going to go bullish. So now let's annotate this also, because these are just two trades that you ideally could have been taken today. If you would have missed this first one, you still got another chance here. And if you missed this trade here, sadly, I wouldn't personally look for any other trades after that, but that is what it is. So we had the fib long, plus we had a 2 hour order block, plus we're still below the 12 a.m. open. So this is a lot of reason to believe that price was overall going to keep rejecting. And then we also had that 32,400 level right there also. So overall, today was a bullish London continuation move where you could have got two potential trades. You could have got one in here and then one in here if you would have missed it. But ideally, both of these trades were still holding this order block that was created during the London session. That's why this low of the day is very important. Price never came back to this low. So let me get this. I'm going to do this, just create it. I'm going to do a regular line and I'm going to make it, I'll make it green just so you guys can see it. So from this low here, this is the low of the day. Pull it over, price never came below it. Never came below it. And there's a reason, because this low was premeditated. And if you guys paid attention to the live session this morning when I was looking for longs, you would have known that I was going long in here. Yeah, I think it was right in here, yeah, because I didn't get in the trade at 12 o'clock. I was going long somewhere in here, got caught in the consolidation, but I had my stop below this low because I was anticipating that if that's the low of the day, then price will not come down to it. So that was my anticipation, and as you can see, price did it. But overall, I wasn't able to catch the full expansion. I got out of the trade once price started retracing somewhere in here because it was already around 12 o'clock, and I didn't want to hold the trade anymore because it was a lot of consolidation and it wasn't moving. So I got out, but as you can see, price eventually went all the way to 33,200, which is the high of the day. And that's really it. So now let's get the schematic of what overall happened today. So we had the Asian session. We had it range. London session came, made the low of the day. We had a retracement that kept going higher to end the day off at a new high. So nonetheless, this was a very simple bullish London continuation. We had this false break during London session, making the low of the day, and then from here, price retraced and kept going higher. So this is a clean move right here. Even though it was pretty choppy, nonetheless, the setup itself is still very clean, and this is something you're going to want to replicate in the future. and using these fibs from the previous day's high to the previous day's low, you easily could have found this area in here where price targeted, and this could have been a good target to get out. Or even you could have just used the 50% of the overall Asian session range in anticipation that if it comes higher, this is somewhere that you could potentially look to take some off. And if you look where that 50% is, right here, and pull it over, you could have got out right there. And look how price reacted right here at 1345, how it tapped into it, and then had that immediate down move. That is meaning that there is a reason that price came into there. So that could have been a good target. And personally, if you would have got in down here, somewhere where I got in, let's just say you got in at that order block, but the stop below this low, targeting this here, that's still a 1 to 3, almost a 1 to 3 trade. And this high up here, that's a 1 to 7, using this low and just understanding all of these things. So with all that being said, hopefully this video was helpful. Hopefully it gave you a little bit of insight on how I personally view the market, and hopefully these things can help benefit you in the future. Make sure you study from these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the screenshot. I'm going to send it in the Telegram chat. So if you're not in the Telegram, make sure you join that. We're currently at 320 members. We're active every single day. That you guys get the live trades, you get my personal trades, and we also have a community of traders that are also sending trade ideas, sending news, fundamentals, all of that stuff. But make sure you join it and you'll see why we're growing so fast. And it's all free knowledge at the end of the day, so take advantage of it while it's free. So hopefully everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. I'll talk to you all tomorrow morning for our next live session. And that's it. So hopefully everyone enjoyed it, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow. Be safe and be motivated by the fear of being average.